welcome back to Hollywoodbets, the Goal Line Podcast, the review show of Matchday 5. As you can see, myself and Jesse are all on a lonesome today. They've abandoned us, Jesse. They don't want to face the good that you done the weekend.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be my time to shine, my bragging time, but obviously they couldn't afford me that luxury, but it is what it is.
Hey, look, I leave you have it. I'm like, us Irish now are very receptive to bragging rights, as they say. And I also see you have jumped. You've also jumped ships. The Arsenal jersey seems to be gone in the bin. What's the story with that? Like, rocking the Brentford jersey today.
Well, I mean, what a 2-0 victory at Wolves. I mean, you know, I celebrated the Arsenal one, but the Brentford one stood out a bit more, I think, especially, you know, the performance and what it meant to Brentford fans and, of course, Hollywoodbets as partners.
Do you know, it was on Saturday at 12:30, and I had it on in the background. And as the game kept getting into, like, I was doing stuff, I could hear it in the background. I found myself drifting away from what I was doing, just sitting there watching it and getting really invested. Like, I don't support Brentford as my team, but I sat myself sitting there and found myself giving out to Ivan Toney for not passing the ball. I was getting really invested into it.
Especially if you kept faith with him in your fantasy Premier League team.
Well, do you know what? I had a change of heart just before kickoff. I done our special, which was Ivan Toney to score anytime, Brentford to win at both teams to score. How Wolves did not score is beyond me. But I also backed it up with Brentford to win. I thought 9-2 was too big. And it was the result was, after the first goal, the result was never really in there, was it?
Yeah, I think Brentford beat Wolves with quite some comfort. You know, it's much like the Arsenal one. In fact, the 2-0 scoreline was a bit reminiscent of that performance and that fixture, the hunger and the passion that they played with. I mean, even when they went 2-0 up, just, you know, seeing them milk every injury and, you know, stay on the ground 20 seconds longer than they should have. It just, I don't know, it just brought back, you know, positive feelings and it brought good energy.
What I found is once they went ahead, they controlled the game very well. There was no panicking. They were very relaxed. They kept to their game plan. Ivan Toney was so good at holding the ball up front. Backline solid as ever. Like they restricted Wolves to long range shots. The only real threat they had going forward was a Traore, who always will lack the end product. So you were never. All the shots were straight down the throat to the keeper. So it was an easy game for him. And it was a nice result to get on the back of going into Liverpool this weekend. Yeah,
and credit to Brentford as well, because Wolves are one of the fastest teams in the league. And you mentioned Traore, and then there's Trincao on the other side, and Raul Jimenez can turn over possession quite easily. So credit to Brentford. I mean, what a performance to nullify that speedy attack of Wolves. World class, actually, dare I say.
I think it's fair to say as well that they won't be struggling to stay up this season at all.
No chance. Yeah, no chance.
Saying that now, Wolves on the other hand, Wolves on the other hand now, they need to start. I know, look, they're playing good football, but they need to string a few results together now to ease the pressure on the new manager.
Yeah, I mean, you used the reference last week. In fact, when we were doing the preview show, you said value doesn't win, value doesn't pay bills. And that's sort of what Wolves are. They just value every game. It's good football. It looks appealing. And, you know, it seems like something you'd want to back yourself, but the results aren't forthcoming. And, you know, it's results that keep you in this league, and it's results that cost managers their jobs. So I can see a departure happening there soon, very soon, actually.
Yeah, I think if they don't win on the weekend, there'll be added pressure. And then if a result doesn't go the week after that, you could see him being chopped from the Wolves game. From the Wolves team. Right.
From the pack.
Well played. Right, we were meant to start off with Friday night game, which I don't want to talk about too much. Newcastle v Leeds. How this game finished 1-1 is beyond belief. It's Leeds had so many chances to put this game to bed. It just baffles me. Look, I just thought this was one of the best bets of the weekend. I just don't get how Leeds didn't put this away.
Yeah, I suppose we'll watch Leeds and Newcastle, a couple of times this season, and we'll say, how did Newcastle avoid defeat in that game? And then we'll probably say the same about Leeds. How did they not win that fixture? I mean, that's what you get from both teams. Leeds, lackluster, they all the attack in the world, creates all the chances in the world. But, Patrick Bamford's a quality striker. I really do rate him, but, he's not an elite finisher like, let's say, your Harry Kanes or, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, just not this season. But Leeds, very disappointing. I did make some money in that fixture though. Leeds getting 4 more corners in the first half. That was 2-1, so one to brag about. But for Leeds, not so much.
Hey, look, any win is a win. I'd brag about 2-1. What was it, 2-1?
Yeah, 2-1.
That was up before half time, I believe, which is... That's 1-0 to Jesse over all of us anyway.
Yeah.
Right, we move on. Burnley against Arsenal. Your team.
Kick the weekend off on a good news.
How did you find Arsenal's performance against Burnley?
Yeah, it was a strange performance, and it's not a performance you'd probably associate with Arsenal. Well, at least the Arsenal of recent years. It was 1-0 to the Arsenal. It felt like for the first time in a very long time, and I know I might be, just getting ahead of myself here, but the defense looked much more solid. They dealt with Burnley's physical threats. I know we spoke about it last week as that being the main danger for Burnley, but they dealt with it superbly. Ben White, few shoddy moments, but next to Gabriel, he's really, really put his hand up and possibly knocking on the England door. So Gareth Southgate was in attendance there, so possibly one to keep an eye on. But for me, the player that stood out was probably Adam Ramsdale, the goalkeeper. A lot of question marks over his signing. They questioned the fee. They questioned whether he's been relegated wherever he's gone. So for me, he's silenced his doubters with that performance. Could have cost a penalty, but obviously VAR, thankfully, overturning that. But solid performance from Arsenal.
Yeah, look, I was one that had my doubts over Ramsdale. I didn't really rate him that much, but he seems to slot into his role now at Arsenal quite well. Look, Arteta obviously has a lot of confidence in him to actually pay the money for him, and he likes what he sees. I looked at from what I saw on Saturday, they're building a solid back four, a very young back four with a young goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. So look, you can see Arteta's mindset and build for the future, which is they're getting this kind of part right. It's from the back line forward now is where it's kind of not unraveling, but they need a few more pieces to the jigsaw to make it all gel together. But look, it's looking more positive, at least for, as you say, back in the day, 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Yeah, and the impressive thing was how brave Arteta was, just playing one central defensive midfielder, being Thomas Partey, and then he let Martin Odegaard and Emil Smith-Rowe just sort of hang around in that number 10 position. So, yeah, I actually had a stat planned to come and mention to you. Did you know the mighty Arsenal have kept more clean sheets than Manchester United this season?
Did you know that Manchester United have more points than Arsenal this season?
Defenses win your leagues.
Oh, stop there, will you? Goals win games.
But yeah, I was very impressed.
Yeah, they're looking like they're on the right path. Look, they probably have another year or two to reach their proper potential, but it's looking a lot brighter than it did at the start of the season.
Trust the process, they said.
But do you trust Arteta? That's the thing.
Time will tell.
By the change of the jersey, not so much. Right.
Yeah, you got
Move
me
on.
there.
We are going to a game which I thought would be a lot more competitive than it was. Liverpool 3-0 win over Crystal Palace. Seemed to control the game very well. It was one of these. Look, we did say on our previous show that it's either going to be a very, very comfortable Liverpool win or Palace are actually going to put it up to it, where it was just ended up being a quite comfortable evening's work for Liverpool.
Yeah, and credit to Sadio Mane getting his 100 Premier League goal. Excellent to see it. Him 100 goals now. Salah as well 100 goals. So that Liverpool attack is onto something. So yeah, it's at the start of the season they were sort of chalked off or written off too cheaply. But with fans back in the stadium, I think Liverpool are becoming a different beast. And we talk about Chelsea and how great they've been, but Liverpool have sort of emulated the exact same results. So like the 3-0, 3-0, opening weekend 3-0, 3-0. They both won 2-0 the following week. So every single result has been matched. So that's Chelsea and Liverpool. So it wouldn't make sense for us to overpraise one and be critical of the other. So yeah, credit to Liverpool. They look really good this season.
Yeah, they've been good. It's just whether their style of football will hold up throughout the whole season. That's my only downfall with them. And especially with the lack of options they really have on the bench. That's where their downfall would be when you compare them to Chelsea. Chelsea have strength in numbers. They're probably one of the strongest squads in the whole of Europe, let alone the Premier League. But yeah, look, Liverpool are always going to be thereabouts. It's just whether the key players stay fit, Van Dijk stays fit, Salah, Mane, keep the goals coming. If one of them gets injured, you're kind of looking at, Jesus, who's going to score the goals from then? So I think that's where they lack in depth is up front. I think the backline is fine. The goalkeeper's world class. Very good midfield. I think it's just there's no real backup per se for their goals.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. I mean, you look at their bench, Divock Origi, Jota's, hasn't scored in the past couple of games now. So, yeah, options are few at Liverpool.
And they have an awful test ahead of them now the weekend, off to the mighty Brentford. I tell you now, I know we're going to talk about it during the week, but I tell you, it's the kind of game that might suit Brentford to play. But Brentford are a very counter-attacking team, and Liverpool are going to be gung-ho attacking team. So it might be a game that might actually not play into Brentford's hand, but suit them more than they were playing a defensive team. I'm really looking forward to that game the weekend now.
Yeah. No,
right,
same. Can't wait. Got the jersey and everything.
Oh, I'm going to wear mine now the next podcast. Now, we move on to one of the strange results that none of us called. Man City against Southampton. We all call this a 3 or 4-0 game. It's a very strange 0-0. I don't know if the crowd is kind of, I say crowd, lack of crowd, that Pep gave out to you during the week was the kind of, it kind of put a damp, I don't know whether it put a kind of sour taste in the crowd's mouth. Look, it's been noticed. It's one of the only stadiums in the world where they'll be putting in planning permission to take seats out of the stadium, let alone bloody make it bigger.
Yeah, that result was a difficult one to understand. I mean, especially to analyze because, you look at where City went wrong and it's hard to say because they created chances. They defended brilliantly. Ruben Dias showed again that he's world class. But I don't know what's happening with Manchester City. I feel like they could just be feeling the heat of your Manchester Uniteds, your Chelseas, and your Liverpool breathing down the neck. And they haven't really had to deal with pressure much in Pep Guardiola's reign. So it's a difficult one to read because Southampton weren't brilliant. There's just more of Manchester City not knowing, the right answers to all the questions Southampton asked. So it's a very difficult one to read. But yeah, City can't see them win the league now. No, for me, it's over.
it was like they ran out of ideas. They panicked a bit. I think it's becoming a thing where a lot of teams are getting very used to playing against Pep Guardiola's style, and I'm not saying it. Look, geez, it's not easy to play against, but it's a lot easier now that you know how they're going to set up. They're going to set up with a false number 9, so you're not going to have to deal with a proper out-and-out striker. So you can adapt your team around man marking per se, because you know you're not going to be dealing with. Look, yes, they make the runs and all that, but you can. It's easy enough to manipulate. You section off parts of the pitch for individual players, and this is yours, this is yours, this is yours. Any runners just pass them on. So it's getting more doable to play against Man City. And I agree with you. If they keep doing this, I can't see them winning the league at all, and I certainly cannot see him winning the Champions League. I think for the Champions League, I think they're just missing that out-and-out striker for the Champions League. They don't have that. They can't win it. The goals win games in the Champions League, and you need that crucial striker, just a fox in the box, as they say, and they don't have one.
If City had signed Ronaldo, I think you and I would be having a different conversation. I mean, that is someone they needed, and that is someone who would have taken their football. I know they were at quite a high level, but I would have taken him to an even higher level, and Pep Guardiola would have probably won some of the targets he's set out to achieve, like the Champions League. So, they need a striker. They need more than a striker. They need a miracle, I think. The teams right now, like Manchester United and Chelsea and Liverpool, when I look at them and when I look at Man City, I don't see them running the same race this season.
No, they're a team now you don't actually fear that much. Like, I think they were wrong in going after Grealish instead of Harry Kane first. I would have went after Harry Kane before I would have went anywhere near Jack Grealish, because there's a lot of Jack Grealishes in that team, as in style of players. And you can get a Jack Grealish style of player a lot cheaper than 100 million. Look, Jack Grealish is a very, very, very good player. He's on the verge of being a top class player. But when you want to contest Champions League, when you want to contest leagues, I know, look, he's going to say he's tried and tested the system for years, and it's worked from at Barcelona, at Bayern, and it's worked from a City up to a certain extent. But now, as you said, with the likes of Chelsea, as strong as they are, the likes of United, the way they're on the way back up, the likes of Liverpool, who are always going to be there, they're not the top dogs anymore. There's the gap between them and the other teams for the last few seasons they're practically on par, if not the other teams have gone past them.
Yeah, and it's, I fully agree with the point you made about Jack Grealish, because this weekend alone, they welcome back Kevin De Bruyne, welcome back Phil Foden. Those players, you could argue, are probably more talented than Jack Grealish, and they didn't cost £100 million. So, City, the recruitment, poor.
Yeah, I agree. Right, we'll move on to one that we all probably called. Well, a 3-1 win for Watford at Norwich. You may as well sign the old bounce bonus back, whatever they call it, for the championship clubs that go down from the Premier League. You may as well sign that and put Norwich's name on it, because they're gone. There's no hope of them staying up.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed this game. I said last week in the preview that could be one of the games of the weekend. It definitely didn't, disappoint. It was both teams scored in the first half. It was two teams it looked like an NBA game where one team attacks and then the other team just, wins the ball and attacks again. It was tacticless. It was, qualityless. It was pointless. It was one of the best games of football to watch this weekend. There was a controversy with the VAR decision. Was he onside? Was he offside? So it had everything of the making of a Premier League game. So, having said that, Norwich, they're going down. It's not a case of, how they're going to go down, but it's who's going to finish 19th and 18th now with them. So, those are questions we need to ask.
It's kind of can we get a market on which month they're going to go down? Will they go down the earliest any Premier League team has ever got relegated?
Yeah, it's probably going to come down to that.
Because when you look at them, they don't have anything. There's nothing there, like. Not a blessed thing. Oh. Poor Norwich fans. God bless them. Right, on to the last game on the Saturday, which I got totally wrong. I made a balls up on this one. Aston Villa, a comfortable 3-0 winners over Everton, who it was an awful performance by Everton, but it was a very good performance by Aston Villa in the end.
Yeah, I mean, that result was coming for Aston Villa. I think this was one of the results I actually called for the weekend. I mean, Aston Villa have been playing excellent. Leon Bailey's been a revelation. That the little cameos that he's been showing for Aston Villa, it seems like he could be the next player to leave for 100 million to Man City. But yeah, Aston Villa, that result was coming. Everton have been playing in patches, so that defeat and the manner of that defeat are also so coming. Whether it was going to happen, last week or in the weeks to come. But yeah, for me, no surprises there. Aston Villa look excellent value.
Yeah, I actually sat down and watched this game on Saturday evening, and never once did I feel confident that Everton were even going to score, let alone win. So Aston Villa's game plan from the start was the right one. They nullified any threat that Everton had. Look, it was a very, very good performance by Aston Villa.
Yeah, and I remember mentioning that Graham Potter and Brendan Rodgers, and we'll get to their game in a moment, but I remember mentioning that those two are one of the most underrated coaches in the league. I think Dean Smith's name has to go in that conversation as well. He's done a remarkable job with Aston Villa.
Oh, 100%. If Graham Potter's name was Graham Le Potter, he'd be one of the best managers in the world.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that he's in. I'm going to compare this ridiculously to the players and managers. Like, English players are inflated in their prices and everything else to go with it, where English managers get no recognition at all, really.
Yeah. I mean, for what Graham Potter's done, remarkable.
Yeah, we'll get on to Graham Potter now, and look, another great win against Leicester, 2-1 win yesterday. When the opening game, they're on some run, Brighton.
Yeah, and we were touching on Graham Potter. Just for him to take, was it Östersunds, I think in the Norwegian league, for him to take them to like the lower tiers, right up to the top flight of Norwegian football, and then to get Europa League football for Östersunds as well. He actually beat Arsenal a couple of years back when Arsenal used to play in Europe. But
good old Thursday nights.
But Graham Potter's really, he's going under the radar, but he's going under the radar for far too long now. He needs a bigger club than Brighton, without being disrespectful to Brighton. But I think the time has come now for him to make that move to a bigger club. He's that good.
Would you like to see him at Arsenal?
Nope. A bigger coach than Graham Potter. Maybe if his name was Graham Potier.
See, French connection. That's all you need. Oh, brilliant. Right, second last game, and probably the most controversial game of the weekend. West Ham against Man United, where United somehow came out with a 2-1 win. VAR controversy, a penalty that wasn't given. This game had everything.
Yeah, this was probably, like I said, the toughest game to call. I think it showed why, because, it was action at both ends. Yes, the West Ham goal was deflected off a run, but, West Ham's performance was brilliant. But Manchester United, what they did at the London Stadium was, world class. And Ronaldo, again, if he's not scoring, which he always does, but if he's not scoring, he's creating chances. And, the team around him, the players around him look so much more, confident in the way they play. And Jesse Lingard, I mean, even he's scoring now. So, it's everything's going well for Manchester United. All those decisions should have been given a penalty, including the one for West Ham United with Wan-Bissaka. I mean, how the ref didn't give that as well. Crazy.
Yeah. Like the thing I liked was, like, United going forward, they always look like they're going to score or create some sort of chance. It's just that midfield again that's just worrying the living daylights out of me. It's terrifying me.
It's that
like the back. Huh?
It's the donut reference I made. There's nothing in the middle.
Oh, it's nothing in the middle. It's everything is around it, and then you've just Fred in there somewhere, running around it's running around in the circle, doesn't know where to go. Oh, but the thing that look, they played unbelievably well. Ronaldo's mindset, you could see 100% is starting to embed into the players. And it's like watching the old United. You keep going, you keep going, you keep going. You play to the final whistle. And you can even see the thing that I really like with Ronaldo as well, even when he's not involved with the ball, he's dragging players away to create space because people are terrified of Ronaldo to get the ball. And then there's just to be gaps for everyone to run into. You see, you could even see with Jesse Lingard's goal. You could see Ronaldo start moving away and players start moving for him. That gave the space for Jesse to go into the box and finish it off. And
I think the nice thing about having Ronaldo in your team is that he's the superstar, and I think it takes away some of the pressure of the likes of Greenwood and the likes of Pogba and Sancho and Bruno Fernandes as well. Everybody knows that Cristiano Ronaldo is the star of the team, and he's going to get the goals. He's going to grab the headlines. So, it sort of brings out, the best in the players around him as well. So, yeah. You know what we haven't mentioned, though, and credits to this player is David De Gea. When the team needed him the most, he stepped up. And I know it was obviously a bizarre decision from Moyes to give Mark Noble the penalty, but you got to give credit where it's due. #Dave saves.
Can we talk about that decision now? I thought that was one of the worst decisions that I've ever seen. Like, you're asking a player that I know people are going to say it's only a penalty. He only has to kick it. But like from experience, you're not fully warmed up. You're not in the whole mindset of playing the game. You're not revved up. Your adrenaline is not pumping. You're literally coming on to kick a ball once. I think it was an awful decision to even take the penalty. The second he was standing up to us, I said to the people I was watching with, I guarantee he's going that way. There's only one way you can go when you're standing like that. If I can see it, if the lads can see it, David De Gea can see it, and he obviously saw it.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because it's sort of like a Panenka penalty when sometimes it goes for you and sometimes it goes against you. When it goes against you, it looks horribly wrong. And this weekend it was a bizarre one because Declan Rice had the ball in his possession and he looked like he wanted to take that penalty. And Declan Rice has been linked with the move to Manchester United, and he'd slot right into that hole in the midfield. So for him, how does he feel with the penalty being taken away? He could have grabbed the headlines. His price tag could have went, slightly high, with the English tax and all that. So, yeah, it was a bizarre decision all round.
The way I look at it now, it's not going to leave a good taste in the mouth of the people that were on the pitch. It looks like Moyes doesn't trust them to take the ball and be there for a big match situation. He doesn't trust the players out on the pitch, so he has to bring a 36-year-old off the bench. Look, he was coming on either way, but to take the penalty, it would not. If I was on that team and I was Declan Rice, it would not go down well with me whatsoever.
I suppose it's a different case if there's no fans in the stadium and it's back to playing football in lockdown. But the fact that there's so much pressure, the capacities jam-packed, the stadium's full. The pressure of having the home fans and the away fans, all hoping, something can go wrong. It's crazy. I would have never have allowed.
No, like if Declan Rice had the ball, as you said, like he had the confidence to grab the ball, saying, "I'm taking this penalty. I'm going to score this penalty." I would have gone, right, if you're that confident, off you go. I know they probably have a system of who takes the penalties or not, but I would 100%. I think it was a wrong decision, but anyway, it was a great wrong decision for United fans.
I read a tweet somewhere that someone said David Moyes thought he was still coaching Man United.
Oh, it's the best thing he ever done as a coach. Right, last game we're going to cover. Spurs against Chelsea. For the first 15 minutes of this match, it looked like Spurs were going to put up a real fight. And then Chelsea decided to wake up and dominated this game. This was a high-class performance, in my opinion, by Chelsea. Everywhere on the pitch, top class.
Yeah, I think the rest of the league needs to check their emails or check their inbox, because Chelsea sent a message. And what a message it was. It was world-class performance. Thomas Tuchel's in-game management on Sunday was second to none. I hadn't seen anything, like that I can't even remember the last time. Spurs were running the midfield. Kovacic and Jorginho were so lost. And for him to take off Mason Mount and bring on Kante, it just changed the game completely. And it showed, because Kante was involved in, so much ball turnovers, and he scored the second goal. And, everything just went Chelsea's way after that. Spurs, I don't know what's going to happen, because they've got the derby coming up this weekend. Of course, they'll probably lose that too, but we'll touch on that later in the week. And yeah, it's Tottenham tears, Jesse smiles.
Brilliant. Look, my personal opinion, I think Thomas Tuchel right now is the best manager in the world. He does everything right. His whole thinking behind games, as you said, his in-play thinking is second to none. It's look, the second he came in, everyone thought, what's he going to bring to Chelsea? It only took him 3-4 weeks to cement his style of play on the team. And look, if I was a Chelsea fan, I would be sitting pretty right now thinking we have a right chance of winning every competition we're in this season.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I think they're probably looking to achieve. Is no coach at Chelsea has actually won the league and Champions League. So that's probably something Tuchel has in mind. And, you look at the Chelsea team now, and Frank Lampard, nothing against him, but when he was there, Chelsea had no less than 5 weaknesses in that team. But since Tuchel's there, even the goalkeeper, Kepa, played on the weekend. Kepa we used to call an empty net, because, when he's there, it's, basically he doesn't make saves. But, Kepa's keeping clean sheets under Tuchel's guidance. So it just shows that everything and everybody is buying into what Thomas Tuchel has brought into Chelsea.
Like even that reference to Kepa there, you could even see he's a different keeper altogether.
Oh,
a year ago, I think it was on near the 75th minute or something like that, a cross was whipped in, and a year ago he wouldn't have went anywhere near that. You could see him running out, towering over everyone, grabbing it straight down. What you want to see in a keeper, and you always are going to need a keeper that is going to get you points during the season. And I think, my personal opinion, look, he's very young. He is very young, and I would trust him a lot more than Mendy now. I just don't get Mendy at all. I'm a former keeper, and I just be looking at things that Mendy does. He looks very erratic to me in his decisions, where Kepa looks more, even this season, he has a more solid head on his shoulder. He's thinking more. He's making the correct decisions, where Mendy, I think he's very erratic to me. And I think, I know that he was injured, or because he wasn't even on the bench. He must be injured or suspended. I don't know what the story is behind it, but Kepa has done zero thing to his chance of holding on to that number 1 jersey.
Yeah, it's a hard one, because obviously Edouard Mendy was UEFA goalkeeper of the year, and he went right through to the Champions League with Chelsea. But I get what you're saying with Mendy. When you look at him, he just looks a bit unorthodox, almost like Wan-Bissaka. When Wan-Bissaka's in possession, it doesn't look right. And yeah, do
you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Petr Cech. I never really got him. He just looked really dangly and awkward. One of the best keepers in the world. I just never got it. I think it's just he looks like he's on the verge of doing something really stupid, but then he's on the verge of saving you the game.
Yeah. I suppose it's a healthy conversation for Thomas Tuchel, and it's a great selection and headache because obviously Kepa was brought in for somewhere around 72 million, and Edward Mendy was brought in for around 26 million. So it's Mendy's not there to take Kepa's place; he's there for competition. And if Kepa keeps this up and Mendy keeps this up, Chelsea could have the luxury of rotating goalkeepers and still challenging for all titles. I mean, last season when David De Gea got injured or lost his place and Dean Henderson came in, Man United didn't feel anything because it's two top quality goalkeepers at the highest level, and that's what Chelsea now have.
And you will see even like behind the scenes, there'll be no friction between the two of them. Like the goalkeeper union actually exists. It does exist. Like they will get on like a house on fire. They will back each other no matter what. Whoever plays, they're always going to be. They're in the same boat. There's only one position you can play for. Unlike like defenders, they could go anywhere in the back four, midfielders, strikers. I think they're onto something big now, Chelsea, for the next few years.
And that was evidence when Kepa got injured. Well, he went down with a foot injury on Sunday. Edward Mendy on the bench probably looked more concerned than Thomas Tuchel. He looked like, oh no, you know what? Let's put the team first. And this is the current number one goalkeeper when he's not there, and he's down injured. So it's obviously warning signs. But goalkeeper union, whatever, everything's going well for Chelsea. They're having the time of their life.
Everything is rosy when you're winning, as they say. Right, that is us done for another review show. We are back on Thursday for our preview show. It was meant to be Friday, but I have business to attend to up in Dundalk. So we are going to record on Thursday and have that out for you for the Friday. We're going to look at all the games of the weekend, and obviously the main game of the weekend, Brentford against Liverpool, of course. And there's some London derby happening in the Emirates or something. I don't know what's happening.
Biggest game of the season. Chelsea play Man City this weekend as well.
Yeah, Chelsea are going. I'm not going to give away what I'm going to say with the weekend, but Chelsea are going to bash them.
Yeah, but
easy game.
It is a repeat of the Champions League final. So.
Yeah, but now Chelsea, I'm at convincing myself now to do a little Chelsea to win the Premier League and Chelsea to win the Champions League double.
I suppose the question is, and I thought about this on Sunday, is can Chelsea go invincible? Because as an Arsenal supporter, that's all I think about when I see a team so well organized, is can they break Arsenal's record? And Chelsea, they answer something there.
Like I'm looking at Chelsea team and I can't see any weakness. Like Thiago Silva, was he going on 37? Looks like a 26-year-old. He was unbelievable. He was unbelievable yesterday. Rudiger just looks like an absolute monster. And they've Alonso and Azpilicueta on left and right back, solid as a rock, and their midfield is ridiculous. And then they've this big monster standing up front from Lukaku.
Yeah, and he played world class for me. So
Look, Chelsea are the team to beat on everything this season, from Europe to the Premier League. Right, so again, myself and Jesse will be back with Gavin and Brendan on Thursday for another Premier League preview show. So again, keep liking, subscribing, and keep commenting below who you think is the team to look forward to going forward. And we will talk to you again on Thursday.